Akashvani presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says terrorism in any form, anywhere and for any reason is against humanity. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate 141 International Olympic Committee session in Mumbai today. Israel ground forces raid into Gaza to locate 120 missing Israeli hostages. Under Operation Ajay, second flight carrying 235 stranded Indian nationals from Israel lands in New Delhi this morning. In ICC Men's ODI Cricket World Cup, India to meet its arch rivals Pakistan at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad at 2 p.m. And in Arctic Open Badminton, PV Sindhu to take on China's Wang today in women's singles semifinals in Finland. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla will deliver a valedictory address today on the second and concluding day of the 9th G20 Parliamentary Speakers Summit P20, which is being held at Yashobhoomi in New Delhi. Today, two sessions on the subjects mainstreaming gender equality from women's development to women-led development and transformation in people's lives through public digital platforms will be held. During the concluding session of the summit, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla will hand over the P20 presidency to the Parliament of Brazil. The two-day P20 summit began yesterday at Yashobhoomi in New Delhi, which was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Inaugurating the summit, the Prime Minister said, terrorism in any form, anywhere and for any reason is against humanity. Highlighting concerns over terrorism, Mr. Modi also recalled the terrorist attack on the Parliament building in 2001.
आतंकवादियों ने भारत में हजारों निर्दोषों की जान ली है। अब दुनिया को भी एहसास हो रहा है कि टेररिज्म दुनिया के लिए कितनी बड़ी चुनौती है। टेररिज्म चाहे कहीं भी होता हो, किसी भी कारण से होता हो, किसी भी रूप में होता है, लेकिन वो मानवता के विरुद्ध होता है। ऐसे में टेररिज्म को लेकर हम सभी को लगातार सख्ती बरतनी ही होगी।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has underlined that a world full of conflicts and confrontations cannot benefit anyone, and this is a time of peace and brotherhood. He said a divided world cannot provide solutions to the challenges present before it.
कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स और कन्फ्रंट्रेशन से आज दुनिया संकटों से जूझ रही है। इन संकटों से भरी दुनिया किसी के भी हित में नहीं है। मानवता के सामने जो बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं, उनका समाधान एक बटी हुई दुनिया नहीं दे सकती। यह शांति और भाईचारे का समय है, साथ मिलकर चलने का समय है, साथ आगे बढ़ने का समय है। यह सबके विकास और कल्याण का समय है।
On the first day of the summit, the presiding officers of the parliaments of G20 and invited countries unanimously adopted a joint statement reaffirming their commitment to continue their joint works to make an effective and meaningful parliamentary contribution to the G20 process. The joint statement said that parliaments will continue to engage in parliamentary diplomacy and dialogue in relevant fora as a catalyst for promoting international peace, prosperity and harmony, including supporting the peaceful resolution of conflicts and disputes, the statement further reads. The presiding officers also congratulated India on the inauguration of the new building of Parliament, befitting its ancient traditions of people's participation in governance and decision-making. They also congratulated the Parliament of India for the passage of the Nari Shakti Vandan Abhiyan Adhiniyam, ensuring the reservation of one-third seats in Lok Sabha and in state legislatures. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the 141st International Olympic Committee session in Mumbai today. The session will also be attended by the President of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, and other members of the IOC, along with prominent Indian sports personalities and representatives from various sports federations, including the Indian Olympic Association. We have more from our correspondent.
India is hosting the International Olympic Committee session for the second time and after a gap of about 40 years. The IOC's 86th session was held in New Delhi in 1983. The session is a key meeting of the members of the International Olympic Committee. Important decisions regarding the future of Olympic Games are made at the IOC sessions. It is expected that the session will allow India to showcase to the IOC delegates its readiness to host an event like the Olympics. The event also indicates India's rising stature at the IOC, which has been significantly enhanced by the performance of Indian players at various international games. Prarthana, Akashvani News, Mumbai.
Union Minister for Fisheries, Purushottam Rupala, began the 10th phase of Sagar Parikrama from Chennai yesterday. Addressing the media at Chennai Port, the minister said that Sagar Parikrama is one of the ambitious projects of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said that this program was launched with the goal of understanding the needs and challenges of fishermen. He said that it was a great expectation to travel on board Indian Coast Guard ship Ajay. He said that the government will provide new equipment to the fishermen to know if they are trespassing into international waters. He said that the project would be coordinated with ISRO. This is Akashvani giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. The second flight under Operation Ajay, carrying 235 stranded Indian nationals from Israel, landed at Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi this morning. The flight to facilitate the return of Indian citizens from Israel left from Tel Aviv to New Delhi. Minister of State for External Affairs Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh received the second batch of Indians at Delhi Airport. In a tweet, the Union Minister said that they are very appreciative of the Government of India's swift response under Operation Ajay and the External Affairs Ministry for smooth coordination. Yesterday, 212 Indian nationals stranded in Israel returned to Delhi under Operation Ajay. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar had announced the launch of Operation Ajay to facilitate the return of those Indians who wish to come back home. The decision was taken after the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas, a terror outfit based in Gaza, Palestine. Minister of State for External Affairs V. Muralidharan yesterday visited 24/7 MEA control room set up in New Delhi as part of Operation Ajay to repatriate Indian citizens stranded in Israel. In a social media post, the minister said that India will continue to monitor the situation and provide necessary information and assistance. He added that the government of India is always committed to the safety of Indians abroad. Israel's ground forces made localized raids into Gaza on the seventh day of the Israel-Hamas conflict. The raids were also aimed at locating missing persons. The Israel Defense Forces (IDF) confirmed that there are at least 120 captives in Gaza. Earlier, the United Nations said that Israel had ordered the evacuation of some 1.1 million people in northern Gaza. The Israeli military pulverized the Hamas-ruled Gaza Strip with airstrikes and blocked deliveries of food, water, fuel and electricity. International aid groups warned of a worsening humanitarian crisis after Israel prevented entry of supplies from Egypt to Gaza's 2.3 million people. The Israel-Hamas war has claimed at least 2,800 lives on both sides since Hamas launched an unprecedented surprise attack on the 7th of October. In Afghanistan, at least 7 people were killed and 15 more injured when a suicide blast tore through a minority Shiite mosque in the northern part of the country yesterday. According to an official of the Taliban government, the blast took place as Shiite worshippers gathered for Friday prayers at the Imam Zaman Mosque in Polikhomri of Baghlan province. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the blast. Afghanistan's Taliban-run administration has faced an insurgency by Islamic State militants, who have claimed a series of deadly attacks on civilians, foreigners, and Taliban security forces in recent months. Russia has proposed a draft United Nations Security Council resolution on the Israel-Hamas conflict that calls for a humanitarian ceasefire and condemns violence against civilians and all acts of terrorism. The draft resolution also calls for the release of hostages, humanitarian aid access, and the safe evacuation of civilians in need. The text was given to the 15-member council during a closed-door meeting on the conflict on Friday. The move comes after countries urged Israel to hold off attacking northern Gaza before its forces go after Hamas terrorists who slaughtered Israeli civilians last weekend. In ICC World Cup cricket, India will meet arch rivals Pakistan at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad today. The match will begin at 2 p.m. We have a report.
In view of the high voltage match, Gujarat DGP Vikas Ai has instructed the various district police heads across the state to be on alert mode to avoid any untoward incident during and after the India-Pakistan World Cup cricket match. More than 6,000 personnel of the Gujarat Police Force along with those of the National Security Guard, Rapid Action Force and National Disaster Response Force among others will be deployed in sensitive parts of Ahmedabad city and at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Motera area during the match. India and Pakistan have 4 points each from 2 matches played so far. Earlier, New Zealand defeated Bangladesh by 8 wickets at Chepauk Stadium in Chennai yesterday. Chasing 246 runs for a win, New Zealand made 248 runs with 7.1 overs to spare. Nisar, Sports Desk, Akashvani News.
In Arctic Open Badminton, India's PV Sindhu will next take on world number 11, China's Wang today in the semifinals of women's singles at Vantaa Energia Arena in Finland. Yesterday, the 8th seed stormed into the semifinals, defeating Vietnam's Thu Linh Nguyen in quarterfinals. Sindhu defeated world number 26, Thu Linh Nguyen, in a 90-minute thriller. Former world champion and two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu is aiming for a first BWF title of the 2023 badminton season. And now for a look at today's newspapers. It's over to Tanvi Khurana.
Thank you, Sunil. The Asian Age quotes Prime Minister Modi as saying the world must take a tough stand on terror while addressing the inaugural session of the 9th G20 Parliamentary Speakers Summit. Palestinians begin a mass exodus from North Gaza after Israel's military asked 1 million residents to leave, even as Hamas asks them to stay put, writes The Times of India. Under Operation Ajay, India has brought back 212 citizens from Israel in the first flight, reports The Hindu. Politics off, cricket on, over to the great game, reads the headline in Hindustan Times, referring to the India versus Pakistan ODI World Cup match today in Ahmedabad. Giving a boost to the game, the International Olympic Committee has accepted a proposal to include cricket in 2028 Los Angeles Olympics, writes The Statesman. And finally, Union Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has announced that Hollywood star Michael Douglas will be honoured with the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at the International Film Festival of India in Goa next month, reports The Asian Age. And with that, it's back to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Tanvi. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says terrorism in any form, anywhere and for any reason is against humanity. Prime Minister Modi to inaugurate 141st International Olympic Committee session in Mumbai today. Israel ground forces raid into Gaza to locate 120 missing Israeli hostages. Under Operation Ajay, second flight carrying 235 stranded Indian nationals from Israel lands in New Delhi this morning. In ICC Men's ODI Cricket World Cup, India to meet its arch rivals Pakistan at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad at 2 p.m. And in Arctic Open Badminton, PV Sindhu to take on China's Wang today in women's singles semifinals in Finland. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.